Hey, what is going on, everybody out there? This is Jakejames Lugo. Welcome to the channel and welcome to a brand new episode of A Definitive Discussion Rebooted. I know I haven't done an episode in quite a while, but I've been out here hard at work, making some things happen, posting up content here on the channel for all of you guys. Let me know if you guys have been enjoying all the content as of late, in the comment section. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel. But today, I got a fun episode for you. This one I've been biding my time. I've been wanting to make this happen for quite a while because we actually talked way back, but now we get to finally talk again. This is Richard Epcar, actor, voice actor, director. You know his voice from a variety of different places. Richard, what's going on? How you been?
Hey, buddy. How you doing? Nice to talk to you again. It has been a while. What was the last time we had an interview, a sit-down?
Oh,
we had
man.
a sit-down interview.
It was like, you were one of my first bigger interviews, like earlier in my career. It was about over 4 to 5 years ago because we talked at Chibi Pa back like here in South Florida. We talked obviously a lot about Kingdom Hearts. For anybody listening to this right now, I'm pretty sure you already know, but Richard Epcar here is voice of Ansem in the Kingdom Hearts series. Very big franchise for a lot of people. That's an understatement. Like that, but
Yes.
we talked a lot about Kingdom Hearts back then, but again we're going to talk a little bit more about that this time. But other than that, before we get into any of that stuff, how you doing? How you been?
I'm doing great. I've never been busier in my life. There's so much stuff going on. I've been doing a lot of a lot of games and a lot of shows and directing a lot of stuff, and it's been kind of nutty. Is what it's been. So and then we my wife and I, Ellen Stern, we just got back from a convention in Japan, which was really fun.
Nice.
Except we almost got killed. But other than that, it was there was a Category 5 typhoon that came in while we were in Tokyo, and we couldn't leave, and they canceled all the flights and everything. So we're stuck there. And while we were stuck there, they had a 5.8 earthquake. So it was, I don't know if they were trying to tell us to get the hell out or
keep you in. That's pretty wild. I'm not gonna lie. That's scary.
It was pretty nutty. We absolutely loved Japan. We loved the people. We loved being there. Everyone was just lovely and terrific. And if you've never been, I highly recommend going there. It's a great experience, and it's really something to see. We could learn a lot from Japan. Let's just say that.
I'm dying to go one time. Like I would love to go, obviously, to go check out like Tokyo Game Show and some of the other events out there, but just go see the city. Just go check out the food out there, because I had a friend of mine not too long ago, HMK. I'm pretty sure you know him as well, because he does a lot of Kingdom Hearts content and stuff. He went to Japan not too long ago. He actually went to Japan instead of going to E3 this year, and he told me it was fantastic. He said it's so fantastic. The Denny's out there is like top tier. The Denny's out there like makes our Denny's look like child's play. I'm like, oh man, I got to get out there. Like, it's amazing.
The 7-Eleven, they have 7-Eleven's insane there. Everyone goes to the 7-Eleven, and they have all kinds of food and sandwiches and soups, and it's unbelievable. It's nothing like our 7-Elevens, and and the people love the 7-Elevens. They just go nuts over them, and it's really kind of crazy. But we were in Iwakuni, which is where the convention was. It was Iwakan, and
nice.
We did it on a military base. There it was the Marine Corps base. So we had the convention there, and then we went to Hiroshima, and then we went to Kyoto, and then we went to Tokyo, and it was an incredible trip. We had an amazing time.
That's awesome. That sounds like a lot of fun. Obviously you were there for
the typhoon.
Yeah, except for the typhoon. Yeah, like obviously that's not good. But besides all that, again, obviously you're out there for work, obviously, for the con and stuff. But I'm glad that you guys had a good time and stuff. But now let's talk about some stuff that you're a big expert in, because obviously you're well known for this. Obviously you've done a lot of different things, but myself and many other people know you from your voice. From having actually used your voice in a variety of different franchises. Just to name a couple, you were in Ghost in the Shell, as far as anime is concerned. I think you also did some voices in Samurai Champloo, if I'm not mistaken. You've done voices.
Yes, I did. Absolutely right.
Okay, because again, like you've done so much, it's like trying to remember like how many things or like specific things you've been in. It's like absolutely insane. Like go look at his IMDb page, and it's like a long list of stuff. But
it is.
You also obviously have done video games, which is really my forte, and obviously Kingdom Hearts is a big one. Most recently, as of I want to say maybe a little bit. I want to say maybe 10 years, give or take, or a little bit less than that. You're the voice of Raiden from Mortal Kombat 11, or Mortal Kombat specifically.
It's actually been ironically, since it's Mortal Kombat 11, I've been doing Raiden's voice for 11 years and the Joker for 11 years. I started both of those characters in Mortal Kombat versus DC Universe.
True.
And I, thankfully, I love the guys at NetherRealm Studios. They've kept me on as Raiden and the Joker through all this time. So I'm tickled pink, and I love those characters, and I love working with those guys. So it's been really, really great.
Tell me a little bit about that then, because obviously, like you said, you were in that game as both of those characters. What's it like doing two characters in the same game? Because obviously they're very different characters. They have different personalities, different, voice, I guess you could say mannerisms or whatever have you. I mean, is that like a huge challenge, obviously, to find like, how to distinguish yourself between those two characters so that way it doesn't sound similar? I mean, what's the challenge with something like that?
Well, they're so completely different. I mean, they really are. And Raiden's very similar to my own natural voice. He's just a little grander than I would speak normally, but he's pretty much my normal voice, whereas the Joker is a completely different voice. And and they're just completely different characters. Raiden's generally really noble and honorable, or except when he becomes Dark Raiden, of course, but I like Dark Raiden. He was he wasn't taking any guff off of anyone. It was badass, and I like that about him. It was really fun to do that.
That's really cool.
The Joker, obviously, he's an iconic character, and I love playing him. And honestly, when I meet people that are not in this world, that don't know anime and don't know games, everybody knows the Joker. So that's kind of nice, because I've done over 600 characters in animation games.
That is
anime.
A lot.
And a lot. It's a lot, yeah. But the people that are not into that stuff have no idea who these characters are. You know what I mean? So, but if you meet someone and you tell them you do the voice of the Joker, everybody knows the Joker. So it's nice to have characters like that. And most people know who Raiden is from Mortal Kombat. So that's pretty cool too.
So let me ask you this, and the answer might seem a little obvious. I mean, do you prefer more to do characters that have much more of that broader, wider appeal, kind of like the Joker, because being DC Comics, people love comics and stuff, or a little bit more of the niche characters, or smaller fan bases or more concentrated fan bases, like something like a Raiden or like an anime character that might be iconic within that fan base, like that? Which one do you find that you have the most fun doing those voices?
Well, I have fun doing all of them, I do Joseph Joestar and JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, and he's a huge hit with fans of that show.
Big time.
And fans of anime. They love that character. I love him too. He's really fun to do. So he was wonderful, and I was really glad I had the opportunity to do him. Obviously, if you do a character that's really well known, it's kind of a double-edged sword. Like with Joker, when I first started doing Joker, I got the haters and I got the lovers. So and thankfully now I've got a lot of people that really enjoy my take on the Joker. So I'm really happy about that. And the same thing happened to me when I took over the part of Ansem from Billy Zane. Billy Zane did the Ansem in Kingdom Hearts 1. And then I've done 8 of them. So, I think it's safe to say that, he's more my character at this point. So
now I want to ask you about that, because I've always wondered for years, and I don't think I've even asked this to you when we first met. Was there ever at one point, before or maybe at some point when they were doing Kingdom Hearts 1.5, a lot of the collections and stuff, or the re-releases of the original Kingdom Hearts, was there ever a talk about maybe bringing you in to do those lines for Ansem for the first Kingdom Hearts game? Because obviously, to give you an example, or to give everybody listening to this an example of like the times when voices are changed, Destiny recently, I believe it was the actor from Game of Thrones that did the little robot that was the Destiny character, but then they changed it, I believe it's to Troy Baker at one point, so sometime shortly afterwards. So things like that do happen, but was there ever a discussion about doing that with you, so that way you could be in every single one of the games?
Well, that would have been nice. But, listen, in all fairness to Billy Zane, he did do the first one, and he did the character in that. And, he deserves to have his place, in the pantheon. So, it's fine, and I certainly don't want to, step on anyone else's performance or take over anyone else's role or anything like that, unless it happens. I've had a funny career that part of my career is I've stepped in for other actors when they haven't been available, or when they haven't been, when the producers haven't been happy with them, or for whatever reason it is, Yeah. Did you get all that? Because I got a message that you had a poor connection or something.
No, you're good. No, you're still good. You're still good.
Right. So, honestly, it's it's really nice to be part of the Kingdom Hearts franchise, and I've been very, very honored and blessed to have done 8 of those games, and it may even be 9 games by now. I don't know. Who knows? We just did something recently for Kingdom Hearts, which I was kind of shocked, but I guess that's part of the additions, the additional stuff that they're going to add. But it's one of those games. It's just it's the gift that keeps on giving. They keep calling me and bringing me back, and it's great. And as long as they want me back, I'll be back.
which is great. Again, we love you as the voice of Ansem. Again, you've done a lot of stuff in all the games. I've had fun with it, being someone that reviews the series, being able to hear a lot of different voices, follow their stories. It just, it's just fun overall like that. But let me ask you this, about Kingdom Hearts 3, obviously.
And Terra Xehanort, we can't forget him.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Let me ask you this, because when Kingdom Hearts 3 was coming out, we didn't get to talk when that whole cycle was going on, because the game's been out already for a good number of months, pretty much earlier this year. If anybody hasn't picked it up yet, you're long since past due to do your homework. Bottom line,
yeah, and it's doing really well.
Yeah, doing great. Again, my review's out there.
It's one of the number 1 games. Yeah,
it's one of the bigger ones this year. Which a lot of people, it's in their top 10 of 2019, which is cool, very, very cool. Again, I'm pretty sure you and everybody else is very proud about that. But let me ask you this: what was it like, doing those lines for Ansem, and then realizing this was a huge, monumental game for this series for a lot of people? People have been waiting for Kingdom Hearts 3 for years, myself included, a long, long time. Was there a lot? Obviously, I'm pretty sure there was a lot of pressure, going into it. But was there any other thoughts that you had about the third main entry of the series?
No, I think all of us were just anxious to get on with it. And, I got to tell you, every single convention I went to, that was the first question people would ask me: when's 3 coming out? When's 3 coming out? And it's like, I don't know. I'm not in charge of that stuff. At the time, we hadn't started any of it. And, I don't know. There was even talk that maybe 3 wasn't coming out. So, who knew? It was kind of scary. But, the thing is, when I first... But the way I got that part, do you know how I got this part?
How?
The part of Ansem?
How?
The way I got the part was Billy Zane did the first one, and for whatever reason, he wasn't going to come back. And I don't know if that was his choice or the producer's choice. I don't really know what the bottom line to that whole thing was. But the way I got the part was the guy who does the voice of Ansem in Japan does the voice of Batou in Ghost in the Shell.
Yeah.
So the Japanese producers asked Disney who does the American voice of Batou, and they said Richard Epcar. So they cast me in this part, and I didn't have to audition. Now, I have to tell you, I mentioned earlier, I've done over 600 characters, but I can count on maybe one hand the times I've been cast without having to audition.
That's
and that
awesome.
was one of them.
That's really awesome.
So when I went in to do the part, I really knew nothing about the game. I knew nothing about the character. I didn't know anything about anything. And I had no idea how popular this game was, to tell you the truth. Because, honestly, I work almost every day. I work on games or shows, and, some are hit and miss. Some you work on something, go, this is kind of cool, and then, never sees the light of day. So, you never know when you work on these projects what's going to happen. But I've been blown away by the Kingdom Hearts fans. They've just been really terrific for the most part. And I went to this one con, ASIN in Chicago. I had this young lady ask me, will you come into my Kingdom Hearts panel? I said, is it on the schedule? She said, no, it's a private panel. I said, well, when is it? She says, it's at midnight. I said, midnight?
Wow, that's late.
I'll probably be asleep, But I was laying in bed. It was midnight. I called my handler. I said, can you get me to this panel? And I figured there'd be like maybe 20, 25 people at this thing. I walk in there. There must have been, I don't know, 3,000-4,000 people crammed in this room. It was insane. And I walked in and they introduced me and the people were cheering like I was one of the Beatles. It was insane. I'm telling you, it was absolutely insane. And then I said one of the lines from the show and they went nuts. And then I was signing autographs on the way out. It took me an hour to get out of the room. It was unbelievable. So that really hit me then. I go, wow, this really is popular.
That is really cool. That's a cool story to hear. Let me ask you this though, okay? As someone that has done this character for Ansem, for so long, been part of this series, and seeing, obviously speaking the lines and stuff, you get to see that story play out. going into Kingdom Hearts 3 and doing that line when that game was complete and stuff, were you satisfied with how things turned out, over the course of all these years with this story or this overarching story?
Well, I don't know. I mean, it sounds like he's going away, but who knows? He may be back. He may be back as a ghost. He may be back as a flashback. He may be back, in another incarnation. I don't know. Who knows? I was sad, certainly, to see. It sounded like it was kind of the end of his arc, his story arc. So I was a little bit sad about that. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Who knows? I don't know if they're gonna do more or what's gonna happen with the whole franchise. But listen, it's their baby, and we come in and we try to facilitate it as best we can and do the best we can. And I'm just honored and very happy to have been proud of that franchise.
Which is awesome. Now, I would be remiss not to ask you about this. And again, this isn't obviously based on anything confirmed or anything, a concrete at the moment. But there's been talk for a long time about doing a Kingdom Hearts series. I know either related to Disney or Square Enix or something in relation to the Kingdom Hearts franchise, whether it's like, an overview of the original story or something else like a supplemental. If there was ever a time, where they approached you to be part of that, whether it's to reprise your role as Ansem or even to be another character and stuff, I mean, what type of character would you like to play?
I would be happy to be part of any of that. I would love to continue on and do. It'd be cool if Ansem or Terra Xanor could return. And but who knows? But if they wanted me to play somebody different or a different character, I would be delighted to do that as well.
That'd be really cool. Now, tell me a little bit more about obviously your time with Raiden, and obviously you mentioned earlier that you were the voice of Joker in some of the other games, for Injustice and was it Mortal Kombat versus DCEU? Tell me a little bit, because obviously, I mean, again, another question I have to ask because for everybody wanting to know, the Joker's coming to Mortal Kombat 11. Are you going to be reprising your role as the Joker, or is it going to get recast?
I really can't talk about that right now, but I know that the Joker is going to be released, I believe, in January. So in January, I can speak more freely about that.
Sounds cool. So tell me a little bit more then about Raiden. I mean, obviously things have been radically different since obviously MK9 and some of the older games before then. Going into MK11, which deals with a lot of time travel and a lot of like different eras of Mortal Kombat, which was very similar to MK9 in some respect. I mean, what was that like for you? Playing like a younger version of Raiden or like a less wiser Raiden. I mean, what was that experience like overall?
Oh, it was really fun. Listen, I love the character. He's one of my favorite characters that I do. And, the writing on that show is phenomenal. Dominic does a lot of the writing on the show, and he does an incredible job. He also directs us for the most part. And also, oh my God, I went up on her name. You're a good friend of mine. I just went up on her name. It'll come back to me. But, we do, he does an amazing job with that stuff, and he's, thank God for him being there, because he knows so much about these characters and their arcs and their storylines, and he can fill in all the gaps and let us know what's going on. So it was really great. Amanda Wyatt, I'm sorry, was the other director, who's a lovely, delightful person and a great director. And I've worked with her on many, many projects. But anyway, and she directed a part of it as well. But, Dominic really is the guy who is overseeing it. And, he really, when I'm there, he really, lets me know all the context and everything. And just, it's so helpful. And Raiden's such a great character. He's just, like I say, he's just a really wise, moral, wonderful character, which, particularly in these times, what we're going through right now, I think it's nice to have, a beacon who has some nobility and honorability and who's honest and compassionate and has empathy, as a role model.
Yeah. It's not always the dark and brooding character. I know that was a thing for a long time, in a lot of different, Hollywood or just like, adaptations or any sort of like, media that was out there for a while, like especially in the 90s to like early 2000s like that. So it's a little bit of a different change of pace, which is pretty cool.
Yes.
So Richard,
Yeah.
we're going to talk a little bit more for the Patreons in just a bit, but thank you, obviously, for chatting up with me. Again, I'm glad me and you finally get to chat it up again, once more, catch up.
Me too.
Bit, which is cool. But we're going to talk a little bit more about some other stuff related to your career and some of the other things you've been a part of in the Patreon exclusive episode, the EX mode we're going to do now. Guys, if you're listening to this now on YouTube, let me know if you enjoyed this conversation. Let me know in the comment section down below. Don't forget to like this video. Of course, also subscribe to the YouTube channel and let me know who else you guys want to see on the show. I'm trying to get some good guests and I'm trying to get some amazing guests like Richard over here. Okay, so let me know who else you guys want to see on the show. But anyway, make sure you guys check out my Patreon page, obviously, for this bonus episode we're going to do right now. And we will talk to you guys again very soon. Peace out and stay epic, everybody.